self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists. What's going on? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another episode.
Back, y'all. And it don't stop.
It don't stop at all.
No.
I want to let y'all know about the website. Go to www.conversationconartists.com to check out the stories that we have for our episode today. The actual episode, old episodes, and then you can leave us some feedback on the mail section. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. MISTER_on_point.
And I can be found at Red_Calamity. And we are also still doing the listener letter portion of the show. If you have questions, comments, concerns that you would like to be addressed on the show, you can leave them either on the website or you can send them directly to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com. And we only have one question, but it's a fucking doozy. It is, what do you think the best case scenario is in a Trump presidency?
The best case scenario in a Trump presidency.
Is there a such fucking thing?
This question is already asked with the premise that there must not be a best case scenario. But to be real, the best case scenario is America just continue to be the shit it's been.
Yeah.
That's the best case scenario. I mean, I don't see a scenario where America gets significantly better under a Trump presidency.
Hell no.
Or better in general under a Trump presidency.
I think I know they asked for like the positive side, but y'all know I'm a realist. I really think my biggest concern, I do know that ideally the country has a system of checks and balances. So Trump couldn't get in there and just like willy-nilly make huge decisions. But I do know that as president, he will be the person that goes and represents the country and talks to other leaders, and this motherfucker's not the person to do that. Like, he doesn't even know the definition of diplomacy. And so my concern would be him insulting some, like, I don't even know that he would like be directly trying to do it. He's just an asshat, so it happens. I would just be concerned with like what our relationship with other countries would be like from their interactions with him.
I think that's a Republican ideal. I think displaying power is a Republican ideal. I mean, that's what was praised about Reagan in many respects. I think that a lot of America is tired of diplomacy, and they're tired of the candidate that will sit back and, you know, be cordial with people that have been considered our enemies at some point. You know,
I think that's a very privileged train of thought, like them thinking that, because they don't want somebody that's gonna like be diplomatic, and they're gonna want somebody that's gonna show force. But at the end of the day, the people that are gonna lose their lives behind that are the people that are in the military, which most of the people who are out here like, no, we don't need the diplomacy, are not the ones that's gonna be out here on the front lines getting murdered when we get into another fucking war. Like, it's easy for you to be like, this essentially what that sounds like to me is like that person who like standing behind you, like somebody like steps on your shoe and you just gonna let the shit ride, but you got that friend that's behind you like, I wouldn't take that shit. I wouldn't, you need to say something, you know, that's pushing you to go get your ass kicked. Like, they not gonna help you. They just back there saying, no, you don't take that shit. You stand up for yourself. And then they want you to get your ass kicked. Or then they'll be complaining about how the economy gets after another war.
And let's say there's not a war, but just ruining relationships with the people in other countries that we friends with because of that, I don't know. But, and I don't want to just be, I don't know, man, if you're Republican, you can enlighten me more on the context of that and how, and you know, help me understand that more. But I don't think they're concerned with that. I think they're concerned with displaying our power. I think that they believe we're some kind of superpower that can never be, you know, infringed upon.
I think we used to be. I don't know that I feel that way now. I really think that the rest of the world is looking at the decline of the U.S. and just kind of like, shit, you know, like, God. I just think we look like a bunch of idiots right now, especially with this particular campaign, but like, I guess the question was the positive, I guess, or what the most positive outcome of it could be. That we don't get bombed. I don't know. Like,
I've been saying that I don't believe Donald Trump believes the things that he's saying to other people that believe that shit.
Yeah, that's the scary part though, is that there are people that believe that those things, and he's serving as their mouthpiece. And I just my fear would be that people would get a whole lot. I think it could get worse. Like, people would get a whole lot more comfortable with shit, and just mayhem ensues. Like,
the only thing about a Donald Trump presidency that I think will be a problem, let me go to the opposite side, is just how comfortable he's made racists and bigots and xenophobes and all of these different groups. Those are the problems. How it's matriculated to the American population. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump himself as the president, I already think the difference between the Republican and Democrat presidents is just splitting the fucking hair.
Yeah.
It's just not that big a difference. I mean, every president in their careers have had maybe a scandal, maybe a significant piece of legislation, or maybe some change that put them in the history of influencing something on a mass scale over time. Mm-hmm. But at the time that they do it, presidents don't influence shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The president get 4 years. So the president don't mean shit. But when you're talking about the Senate, when you're talking about Congress, House of Representatives,
aren't those seats up now? Like, aren't we getting ready to elect a whole bunch of them as well?
Yeah, we're going to do all of that. President, midterms, all of that stuff.
I'm good.
You know? And so I think that, damn, what was I saying? I lost it. Oh, the Congress and the Senate, all of that stuff, they can be in there from 30. Yeah. Well, in the House of Representatives, you can be in there from 25 till you damn die.
Yeah.
And you could be a representative from 30 until you damn die. That's who has crafted our country. That's who changed. The president don't mean shit. It don't mean shit. And I have to address the people who's not gonna vote.
Fuck you, people. Okay, not fuck you, because we need to educate you. So let me not say that. I take that back.
Listen, how have we gotten to the point in politics where you are willing to spite your own ideals because of the people that are chosen to uphold them? And this goes for Democrats and Republicans. If you are a Democrat, you believe in ideals of how to run this country and how to treat the people in this country and the businesses in this country and how to do foreign policy and how to handle nationwide issues. That's what you're voting for. You're voting for your ideals pertaining to that party. And it's people out here saying that they not going to value their own ideals through their party affiliation because they don't like the person that's saying it. You can't be mad because you don't like the person that's speaking your ideals. If you believe in it, you vote for the party. You're literally saying, I'm not voting for the things I believe in because I don't like this person's speech.
The mouthpiece.
I don't like how they talk. Because that goes into a bunch more. It's not just who you put in the White House. Because your ideals, when you vote for them, it also influences whether the House or the Senate is going to be Republican or Democratic. Which, if you have a Democratic president or a Democrat president and a Democrat Congress, then you can get Democrat legislation passed in almost every state easier because there's nothing to hold it up. Mm-hmm. And then you can get Democrat Supreme Court justices, which makes a big difference in how the laws are portrayed and enforced in this country and how they are changed and what's supposed to be upheld and how it's interpreted. Like, and then the president, all those positions, they influence local politics. You're not just keeping Hillary out of the White House. You're not just keeping Donald Trump out of the White House. You are, in essence, not participating in this system that's going to influence every single bit of your being, even if you don't believe it.
And for all of y'all who are talking about you're going to write in a third party and shit, you're essentially throwing away your fucking vote. That's what's happening. Because your write-in is not going to win. So you're just throwing your vote away at this point. And that makes absolutely no fucking sense at all. Like, this system it's set up as a two-party system. That's just what the fuck. So again, it's Hillary, it's Trump. That's what the fuck that's gonna be what the outcome of this is. One of those two. So your write-in person is not gonna be it. Like, that ain't what's gonna happen. So whether or not you throw your vote away by doing the third party or you don't vote at all, one of those two people in November is going to be the next president. It's gonna be one of them. It ain't gonna be a write-in. So that's fucking stupid for you to do that.
But Calamity, but on point. But it's a broken system. It's all broken. The politics are all broken. How is voting for one of those two people in a broken system going to help fix the system because it's broken? Listen, your ass today ain't finna fix no system by not voting. Let me tell you what I think. I think that the emergence of Bernie Sanders and how much support he got is very refreshing for the future of politics. But right now, I'm sorry, y'all, but your damn mamas, daddies, grandmamas, and granddaddies, they asses got to go, okay? They gotta die. And I'm sorry, and it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be a beautiful funeral. It's gonna be a beautiful arrangement, and y'all are gonna mourn that person, and they're gonna be gone. But you know what? Politics is gonna change because there are too many old people holding on to politics. I mean, you don't find a lot of 5, 6, 7 children household like there were in the baby boomer ages. So it's tons more old people than it is young people in America. They gotta go. Once they go, seeing the Bernie movement, and I call it the Bernie movement, but it really is just fucking logical politics to me. Things that make sense for everybody, but that's just my ideas, and I don't be mad people who don't agree with that shit. But I think that seeing that, we got hope in the future for it happening. But we can't continue to perpetuate a no vote mentality for the youth. These celebrities, we're
gonna get into the celebrities.
We'll get into the celebrities. We'll get into it, but we can't continue to perpetuate a no vote stereotype and movement if that potential future can be one. People need to vote. People need to be involved in the process. The way that politics have changed is going to be a slowly but surely change.
And it's because of the fact that the people in Congress, the people in the House of Representatives, they stay in there so long. So if you're looking for instant gratification, and if you think by you not fucking voting or you writing in somebody that you going to fix this broken system this year, I got fucking news for you. Not going to happen. That's not how it works. It's just not. So you're not going to get instant gratification by doing this. It's not going to change shit. Again, at the end of all of this, either Hillary Clinton or fucking Donald Trump is going to be the president. Whether you cast your vote for Jill Stein or whoever else y'all want to write in, or you don't vote at all, one of those two people is going to be president at the end of this. This is what it is. It's just fucking what it is. And I've said before, and every year, I mean it literally, because politics just sucks ass every year. Regardless of who the candidate is, it's about picking the lesser of the evils all the time. I think people look at this election like it's like so much more of that, but every election I feel like is always the lesser of the evils. And you have to understand also that most of what these people are saying they're gonna do, not gonna happen, because they don't have the momentum, or because we don't live in a dictatorship and they gotta get it passed through all these different channels. Not gonna happen.
And not only that, but they run on the ideals exclusive to their party.
Yep.
That's what they run on. When they become the president, they automatically have to absorb the concerns of the party that they fought against.
Yep.
So their message has to change because it has to accommodate everybody.
Because that's the way that the system is set up. So I don't know if we answered that question or not, but for me, us not having somebody bomb the fuck out of us because he went and ran off and shot his mouth off, and also racism, which has always been around and is still around for all of you talking about post-racist America, fuck you people. But also, best case scenario, the people that he is being the mouthpiece for right now that have all these racist ideas, hopefully it won't, be this snowball effect of like, I just don't want like open Klan meetings and shit happening with the hoods and shit again. I just don't want to go through that and burning crosses and shit again.
My best case scenario is that Donald Trump disappoint the fuck out of a bunch of Republicans because he don't believe what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's just saying it to get voted in, and when he get voted in, I don't think he would uphold all the stuff he's been saying because he don't genuinely believe it. You can look at Donald Trump's history of conversations, dialogue, articles. He's a Democrat.
Yeah, he
by
was.
his belief
Yeah.
system. He believes in Democrat ideals, and I don't believe over his whole career of saying all this stuff, I don't believe that just changed overnight. Best case scenario for me, everybody hoodwinked, and Donald Trump is gonna get in there, and he definitely ain't gonna implement Democrat stuff on his platform as a Republican president because that's just not gonna go over well for him.
Nah.
But he's not going to pass no extreme stuff. He not finna build no wall. He ain't finna deport no illegals. I don't think he's gonna do any of that stuff. But I do think that he's going to have a bunch of Republicans writing that stuff in, because if Congress don't change at some point to a Democratic Congress,
yeah,
and then a Republican president gets voted in, they're gonna be trying to pass so much legislation, and it's likely all going to pass.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the worst case scenario, that it just emboldens politicians, Americans, Republicans, racists, xenophobe, homophobes, sexist, misogyny gonna be high. I just think that it's going to create a new mentality. It's going to really validate all of those things he been saying for the people he been saying it to that do believe it. Yeah. I don't believe he believe it. I don't.
I hope not.
An interview with Van Jones, a street interview with Van Jones, he said that Donald Trump is worse than a racist, because they was asking him, do you think Donald Trump is racist? He said, no, I don't think Donald Trump is racist. I think he's worse than a racist. I think that he plays and toys around with everybody else's racism,
yeah,
which makes him worse than a racist because he think we all stupid.
He's the puppet master. He's the puppet master.
You know what I'm saying?
Dance.
And so that was a very good response, and that's what Donald Trump doing. But I don't think he believed the shit that he's spewing. And so, best case scenario for me, don't make a difference. Neither one of them make a difference to me, for real.
Let's hope not. Well, that was our rambling answer.
Yeah.
Shit. If you have question, comment, concern, something we've said on the show that you want us to address, I think we had that before on the gun shit. So anything, send it in either to the Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com, or you can send it into the website. And I guess we could just go ahead and get right on into Bow Wow, since it ties into that fucking question.
Yeah, man.
Bow Wow. First of all, let me just say, Bow Wow is like Stacey Dash, and what I mean by that is I could give a shit about either one of them. Before they even opened their mouth and said stupid shit, I could give a fuck. Like, honestly. They both are like marginally talented, attractive people. That's about it. That I feel like is their bio. So this week, Bow Wow got into like this Twitter, and I think a lot of celebrities need to get the fuck off Twitter too, because y'all get like wrapped into like really bad shit on shit y'all say on Twitter. But somebody was asking him who he was gonna vote for. He said he wasn't gonna vote, and then of course, you know, people were like, "You're black. Why would you not vote? The civil rights move, all of this stuff that was done for you to be able to vote." This motherfucker said that he don't really know much about the civil rights, and he don't really get into that because he's mixed. And so that doesn't really impact him, and he's not really up on it because he's mixed.
So this is Super Saiyan level of ignorance. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, this is Infinite Tsukunomi level of ignorance. If you watch Naruto,
you gonna have to do one that like non-anime.
But all I watch is anime. I don't know. What's a cartoon?
It's top level. I can't even. It's just top level.
It's
top shelf vodka version.
The level of ignorance.
Fuckery. Yeah.
Like, the level of ignorance is ridiculous with that statement. Because he ain't heard of the one drop rule.
First of all, okay, his mix is not even like he has a black mother and a white father. His father is mixed. And like, what? So your dad look black. He's not. There's white, Native American, and that make it even fucking worse. So okay, so the Native American part and the black part, you don't think it's important for you to fucking vote after what happened to both sets of those people? fuck is you talking about, Bow Wow? Like, and he continued because people were getting in his ass about it, and he just continued with the stupidity. Like, I will say this, when he say some stupid shit, he is gonna stand behind that stupid shit to the end. He just never saw the light at the end of this long ass tunnel the whole time that he was having this Twitter. And it was different people that were like commenting that he was replying back to, because everybody was just kind of like, yeah, fucking stupid you sound. So you don't care about black people? No, dog, that's not what I was saying. That's not what I'm saying. I need to find exactly
Lil Bow Wow
feed.
or Bow Wow. Bow Wow's the fucking skim milk of black people. Like, some people fuck with you. Some people fuck with you, but not a lot of us, and none of us know why you even fucked with from the beginning. That's like, I'm sorry. Basically. You are not relevant. I mean, Bow Wow just don't have the X factor.
No, he never
has. He's just a dude that somebody paid to put on. Jermaine Dupri got a kid when it wasn't no kids out at that time, and he capitalized off of that kid. But Bow Wow has never been a star. He was on the cusp of an already questionable star. I don't know what Jermaine Dupri, I don't know none of his Money Ain't a Thing video. That's all. Janet Jackson husband for some time.
There was another, I knew it was another part. So he said, I don't really care, to the question about who you gonna vote for. I don't really care, because after what I learned about politics, I just stay away. It's a letdown. So then they were like, what'd you learn? He said that all the world leaders are controlled by an upper power that no one knows about. I can't rock with it. What is this upper power that nobody knows about that is controlling the world leaders? Not even a country. All the world leaders are being controlled by some fucking, I don't know, shield. I don't know.
And you rather believe in this power that exists that nobody knows about than actually like do research? Like, how do you know about it if nobody know about it, motherfucker?
That's too hard. It's too hard. He continues. He said, man, I only believe what the eyes see. I'm mixed. I don't know what my ancestors was doing. I only know what I could see. Because somebody was like, what about your ancestors? That was his response to that. Then they asked him about Selma. He said, yeah, I seen Selma. Was I related to anyone? No. I'm saying my mom's side of my family is not black. Heritage different.
Okay. So he said that he can't rock with a system that has leaders that's controlled by something that you can't see. Then said that he only used his eyes and go by what he can see. That he did that?
Yes, that's what he said.
Y'all, the levels of ignorance are ridiculous with the Bow Wow.
I mean, and then look, this is his dad. Cause then he posted a picture of his dad that was supposed to like fucking explain everything. He looked black, like he looked like a light skinned ass black person. Fuck is you talking about?
He looked like he get his ass beat by the police in the 70s.
He was in and out of jail. That's why Bow Wow ain't got no fucking relationship with him. So yeah, he probably was. I mean, it was just a ton of fuckery. Like, and he held on to this. Like, so if black people do decide to do what Britain did and do, like, I think everybody's been calling it black sick. And I said before, Stacey Dash, they can keep Bow Wow mixed ass too, since, Because here's what's crazy about him and Stacey Dash both. Your careers are built on the backs of the people, or built on the dollars of the people that you say you can't rock with, don't represent you because you're not of them. Like, really? Seriously? Okay, Bow Wow. Like,
the levels of ignorance are Waldo, Geraldo, Faldo. Family Matters.
Now the millennials ain't gonna know what you're talking about.
The levels of ignorance are Kimmy Gibbler.
Oh yeah,
Full House.
Still the millennial. They might, because it came back. Full House came back. So
yeah, just take the stupidest, dumbest, most ignorant thing that you've ever experienced, or the worst, most powerful plot that the cartoon or anime you watch has, and make it ignorance and put that on Bow Wow. Because he ain't got. And so my issue with the whole Bow Wow thing is, and Nick Cannon thing is, I'm not gonna vote. I'm not gonna vote, no vote, one vote, these different movements that they have about not voting, and that's problematic. Now, I will tell you that don't tell me about no civil rights when it come to voting. Don't tell the number one reason I vote is so I can keep talking shit about politics, and so people can't tell me, well, you don't have the privilege to talk about politics if you didn't vote. Bitch, one, I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. You don't have to listen if I ain't vote, but I'll talk about what I want to. But I'm gonna let them know, look, I voted just to talk this shit. I don't give nothing damn about no other thing, but I voted for that. But I think that it's a very dangerous message to feed to the youth today. To have these celebrities saying, I'm not gonna vote. I mean, you can write in a vote. Like, write in a vote. But if you're going, that's stupid. But if you're going to, but we don't need to spread this idea of not voting, not being involved in politics, and educate yourself about the people running. It's so many people that done said something about Benghazi and Hillary Clinton, and that's why they won't vote. Do people know what happened with Benghazi?
I don't think they do. I think it's one of those things where people like just hear people talking about it, and then they just adopt it. Like, oh no, did you hear about Benghazi and Hillary? Like. So I don't think that people legitly know. Maybe
this is an oversimplification, and members of the military, if you're listening, you can clarify that for me. But Hillary is as much at fault as a parent who was blamed for a kid that hit somebody at school. It's like at the consulate, there was some miscommunication going on, and big problematic things happened. But because she's the Secretary of State, at the end of the day, it was her job to make sure everybody was taken care of. But under that, it was somebody else's job. Under that, it was somebody else's job. It was a lot of things that could be put into place to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's so. The propaganda is they make it a much bigger issue for Hillary having been the Secretary of State and a consulate attack happening and lives were lost, when it happened like 11 or 12 times under Bush. Every single president has had attacks on consulates around the globe. It just happens. We're America. We're supposed to be the greatest. And people don't like that because the greatest has come with dominating, with a narcissistic society, with us believing that we supposed to be this beacon of light for the world. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's come with. So people are not going to like that. So this happens all the time. I just don't see how Hillary Clinton getting such a bad rap for it. And then you got Hillary Clinton signed, she was with Bill Clinton's legislation that led to mass incarceration.
I just want y'all to imagine. I mean, I guess for y'all young ass people, this would be hard for you to do, but I can do this because of my age. Like, just think about the things that you were with and for and thought about 20 years ago. The person that you were 20 years ago, and the growth, the change. Like, we always want to influence people to see the error of their ways, or to see, things in a different light. But then when they do, it's still, but you didn't before. Like 20 years ago, you was with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that it's fair to say, well, because she was with it then, obviously she lying about her change of heart now. When there's such a big difference in the time. Like, I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago, and I fucking hope that you're not either. Like, I don't know.
But another part of that is politics has never really had a strong handle on fixing problems at their core. Politics does patchwork. Politics put something on top of something to fix something that has a core broken issue,
and then it go flat. It's that tire that you patch, but it keep going flat. You just keep getting the patch.
Exactly.
And the layer gonna leak out at some point.
At some point, it's gonna fuck something up.
Basically.
And the legislation that 1996 legislation that created the 3 strikes laws, that made harsher penalties, it was trying to fix an issue that had a core problem that wasn't being addressed. The issue was crime rates were high. They were very high at that point in time. And Bill and Hillary and all of the Democrats that supported that legislation said, hey, we need to put a deterrent in place for these criminals. We need them to know that they get big consequences when they do crime. And so we're going to deter that. We're going to make it tougher so that these criminals say, well, damn, I'm not doing that crime 3 times in a row because I'm going to go to jail. That completely overlooked the core reason that crime was existent. Crime was existent because of poverty. Crime was existent because of lack of oversight in communities. Crime is existent because of issues that are not being addressed. Because Lord forbid the government give somebody to somebody or change somebody's circumstances or intervene in a way that changes the core of these issues. And so crime don't change because the core issue that crime exists is still there. Yeah. All it does is it penalizes those pre-existing crimes for those pre-existing reasons that's not being addressed. And so it was well-intentioned. It just didn't address the core issue. How long is somebody supposed to be held accountable for something that they've repudiated, for something that they've said is a mistake, for something that they messed up on? The only thing we can do is hold them accountable for it and hope they don't do it anymore. I mean, that's all we can do. That's or really we cannot vote for them, but we don't fucking have a choice this time.
Nope.
We don't have a choice now. It's either Hillary or Trump. Again, and as far as I'm concerned, if you don't vote for Trump, you might as well vote for Hillary. If you don't vote for Hillary, you might as well vote for Trump. Because one of them 2 fucking things is going to happen. Yep. Regardless of what you feel about your third party candidates, regardless of what you feel about the Libertarian, the Green Party, any of those parties, at the end of the day, you only got 2 decisions. During snack time, they ask you if you want Lay's chips or fucking curly fries. You can't say I want fucking Funyuns. Ain't no Funyuns. You get one of these 2. That's it. And that's what we got. You're getting something you don't like regardless if you're trying not to vote. So you might as well go. I don't want to say you might as well go for the lesser of 2 evils, but you need to take into consideration all of the other reasons that voting for a Democratic nominee aligns with your ideals of how you expect the country to be run. Otherwise, you're going to get a party nominee that wins the presidency that does not align with any ways that you think the party line, and it's going to change a whole bunch of your existence, and all you're going to have to say for it is, well, I didn't like Hillary. Or if it's the opposite for you, well, I didn't like Trump. But you, and that's my problem. Like, I don't give a fuck who win. I just want every American to damn vote for their damn ideals. All of this bullshit propaganda, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I, at my core, don't believe whoever is the president make a damn difference. I just don't. I never have. The president is a puppet for the country. The president is the illusion that we had some kind of choice. That's why it's so limited, because they want to keep us involved in, oh yeah, I voted for this person and it won, and it keeps me involved in the system. But at the end of the day, they like splitting hairs. At the end of the day, they shake hands, they eat at the same restaurants, they have conversations about regular shit, and they do the same shit over and over again. And it's every 4 years. That's just what it is.
Pretty much. So fuck Bow Wow is the summary.
Bow Wow, you ain't shit.
Basically.
Nick Cannon, you ain't shit either.
Yeah, you too. So let me just say this, and I don't, this is not to insult anybody that may have done this, but I will say, if you meet somebody and you hang out with them for 4 months and then you marry them, I don't know that it's fair for you to be surprised that they maybe wasn't the person that you thought you married. And I say this because Keisha Knight Pulliam, who you may all affectionately know as Rudy from The Cosby Show, married an ex-NFL football player after knowing him for 4 months. They were together for 6 months. She's about 5.5 months pregnant. And they're getting a divorce because he filed for the divorce. And she's just devastated essentially now. But what I want to talk about is the fact that when you meet people, you are meeting their representative. That ain't them. That ain't the bad. That ain't their flaws. That ain't them. Like, you have to get, that's why dating exists. You have to give it time to get to know this person, to see them in a variety of situations, see how they interact with their family, see how they interact with their friends, see how they interact with wait staff, see if they're assholes to the people that are, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to see them in a bunch of different lights in order to get a whole concept of who this person is. Because the thing that they're showing you is just a snippet, a teeny tiny little bit of the picture. And a lot of it is just that polished up version of it. So 4 months down the road, that's not enough intel. It's not enough information for you to say, this is it. Whole rest of my life, this that dude. No, it's not. So now she's pregnant with a pending divorce. All of this happened in 10 months. Y'all ain't even been together a year. And in this 10 months time, y'all have met, y'all have dated, y'all have gotten married, y'all have gotten pregnant, and now you're getting divorced in 10 months. It's ridiculous.
Listen, there's some ways that you can find out if you're a mate. You gotta find out early. The first one I want you to do is I need you to wake them up in the middle of the night.
Why?
You need to see that reaction. I mean, we got some PTSD? I mean, do they swing when they wake up? I mean, can you not get them up at all? Because if it's an emergency, you got to drag them out the window. Are you strong enough to do that? Like, first test is to try to wake them up in the middle of the night.
You'd have to drag
see what
me
their
out the
response
window.
is.
I do not.
Worst case scenario, you get a black eye. Best case scenario, you find out they turn around and say, "What up, babe? What you need?" Best case scenario, but you need to know that. That's the test. That's test number 1. I got some other tests.
Okay.
Some of them are too personal.
Oh God. You have to give yourself time to get to. Now I get it. I'm 31, so I kind of get. You get that feeling of a little bit of anxiousness maybe when you're, and she's like in her mid-30s, I think. Mm-hmm. You get that little bit of, and I had this conversation with AC Blow actually the other day. You get this bit of anxiousness because it's not quite the same with men. With women, you have a very limited window in which you are going to bear offspring. Like, that's it. That window, unless you got the money to freeze your eggs, which I looked that shit up. The process is $10,000. There's a $500 storage fee for however long you need to store the eggs. And that's for like one set of eggs. Mm-hmm. So if you need to do this again, that's another 10 G. Like, it's fucking expensive to like freeze your eggs and try to do that shit at a later date with a surrogate. So women have a very small window of time in which to be able to do this and there not be a ton of complications. So I kind of get it when you start reaching the end of that deadline where it's kind of like, fuck, like, mm-hmm. Oh my God. But I don't know that the answer is marrying some random ass crazy person that you've known for 4 months and then being like, cause she did an interview. She said this is the only interview she's gonna do about it. She did an interview on E, and she legitly looks upset. Like, she really looks heartbroken. Like, she thought this is gonna be the one, and it's just like, girl, based on what?
But she is an actor.
Well, that's true.
So I mean,
that's true. I don't know. I feel like with the hormones of her being pregnant and all of that, I feel like she probably is feeling pretty sad about it. And it's embarrassing because the way she said it went down is he got up one morning, kissed her goodbye. She was like, all right, I'll see you later. Then he texted her and said, I need to talk to you about something. She called him and he said, I just filed for divorce. I'm going to be home later to get my stuff. Bitch, what? You gonna be well late. You better bring the sheriffs with you when you come back. I just bring folks with you. Don't come back here by yourself because it's gonna be dangerous. So you need to go by the sheriff's office and get a couple of officers to fucking come with you before you come back to this house. You did what? We ain't talked about this. I thought shit was fine. You get up and go file the papers. And then call me to tell me you did this shit. And then you think you just gonna waltz up in here taking shit out this house? Oh, that's cute.
Okay. Test number 2. Hide one of their favorite things that you know they gonna need recently, like their keys or one of their shoes or something important to them for every day that they need. Not something serious like a phone, but something that they can believe they possibly misplaced. Hide it. Put it somewhere. You need to see how quick they get mad. Then you need to see, will they ask you for help? Or will they involve you? Because you know they don't know where it's at. You know what I'm saying? You need to see if they go from 0 to 100 real quick, or if it's a slow process. You know what I'm saying? That's a test. These are before you get to the point of I'm gonna marry this person. You need to know these things. Otherwise, you're gonna find them out when you don't want to.
He was also a husband on the Real Housewives
Real, yeah.
of Atlanta, I think. So he was married to one of the bitches that's on that show, and she had shit, like she had trouble with him. I don't understand it. Like I said, I don't give a fuck if I'm 39 turning 40. Like, I don't care who, if that person that I meet at that time, I'm not 4 months later, like, I'm gonna look at you like you done lost your mind if you ask me to marry you after 4 months. Like, you don't even know me. You haven't even seen, like, the rants that I get into because of traffic. You haven't even had an opportunity to see how enraged I get when somebody parks and takes up 2 parking places.
Exactly. That's why you set these tests up. Test number 3. Cook a bad meal. Cook a bad meal. And if you don't cook, make some bad Kool-Aid. You need to see if they gonna drink it and just take it down. If they gonna eat, this is delicious. You know, or if they gonna be like, you know we going out to eat tonight, right?
Yeah.
You need to know. You need to know what this person is made of. And you know what? You don't want to be, after 4 months and married, finding out all of this random shit about this person when you could have been testing them the whole time.
You know what? You need to do a post on the website of different tests so that people can like go and look back and get these tests to do in their relationship.
I need to do that. I'll do that.
But I want to say that, especially to women, I think we live in a society where it's like men can just be distinguished and bachelors and shit is cool, like that's fine, and then women are I don't think they call them old maids anymore, but shit, even me, like I work in a place where most of the women there are married with kids. And I can't tell you how often I have to have conversations about when I'm gonna have some kids. When I fucking get ready to. If I decide, I don't really, after seeing how y'all are with y'all kids, it don't really make me all that anxious to do that shit, to be honest with you. Like, so we live in a society where that's like pushed on you, and the older that you get, it's kind of like, well, you know, you're running out of time to do this shit. So again, I would just like to say to the females, don't feel pressured into doing that shit. If you're not ready or prepared, or hell, if you don't want no kids, that's fine. Everybody's not meant to be a parent, and I have worked with a whole lot of people who should never have fucking had kids. So if you don't feel like that's your path, that's cool. Or if you haven't met the person in which you need to have it, because guess what? If he is crazy, you can leave his crazy, but some of them fucking crazy genes might be in this kid that you're gonna have to have with you for the next 18 years. So even if you can get rid of his crazy ass, some of them genes might cross over. And you don't want that life. I've
met people that had a bad relationship with their baby mama or baby daddy, and most of the time baby daddy, but they have a big problem with treating that child appropriately because they look like that person. Like,
which is fucked up.
I done met a lot of people like that in counseling and just in the career. I'm like, what? Why are you holding this child to the sins of this person? Like, you really have that much hatred for that person in you that you can't treat a person you birthed
and
properly?
That runs deep, because for the older people always like to look at this generation and past generations that are not their own and say, y'all, so we didn't do that. Yeah, you did. The only difference is that kid got sent somewhere else. And you raised the kids with the person that you liked, kind of shit. So that's the situation that has been going on for a very long time. And it's sad because that kid ain't got nothing to do with what they look like or who they act like or who they sound like. They ain't got shit to do with that. They got the genes that were given to them. And it isn't fair to that kid. So again, I say, if you ain't in a position, in a place where you are either prepared to have kids or you know the person that you with well enough to parent them, and that don't even mean necessarily together. Like, if shit don't work out, that person needs to be somebody that you would be able to co-parent with as well, because sometimes shit don't work out. But if this gonna be somebody that you have this extreme hatred for, that you can't even bear to talk to this motherfucker, that don't need to be the parent to your kid. You have to take time to get to know people, I guess is this the lesson that you should learn from Rudy's story, is that 4 months is not a long time. Like, 4 months is 120 days. And in that 120 days, you have to understand that you are only going to spend like a very minute amount of time. If y'all are both adults with jobs and shit to do, you're not going to be together that whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's maybe on the weekend here and there. Like, it's not going to be a whole bunch of interactions within that 120 days. Like, that is just not enough time for you to know. It's just not. To marry them, like, I wouldn't even move in with somebody after 4 months, let alone, like, tying up our finances and all of that shit. Fuck that. Nah.
Yeah. That's a situation. But, you know, I'm just always under the impression that these celebrity figures, they gonna do their own thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, football players, athletes, I'm pretty sure it's some faithful dudes out there.
I think right now, I think Steph Curry is one of them.
That's because, shit, his wife like Tony Parker's wife. She everywhere.
Yeah.
He can't do nothing. She in interviews. He couldn't do nothing if he wanted to.
All
I'm not
the
saying
games.
that he would. I'm just saying the allure of the life in which you are constantly berated by women is one that it takes a very, very powerful man to avoid, or it takes a man with very heavy supervision by his woman. You know, so I don't know, man. That's why I always tell these celebrities, look, Keisha, come on down, get you a regular dude. You know, you ain't got to worry about that. He don't have the allure of any kind of life for women to want him like that. They don't. Get you a regular dude. Just come scoop one up. You know, do some interviews. You can make it a formal process. Do some interviews. Put down some papers. Apply for boyfriend. Must be a regular dude. Must make less than $100,000. No less than 50,000. You know, situation. The same thing for, you know.
Y'all just take your time. Take your time when y'all again, because that's a huge, again, even if you can always get a divorce, but like once shit gets all tangled up financially and all of that, it's just a big ass headache for what? Y'all were together for 10 months total, married for 6 months. Not y'all didn't even make it a year for the whole relationship as a whole. Like not even a year married, not even a year dating, just a year in general. Y'all didn't make it. So take y'all time. Don't be out here. I think I posted on the thing, y'all out here looking for Adam, and then you date Adam for 4 months and you think he's Adam, and then be surprised when he turned out to be the serpent. Well, duh.
Fourth test, and this is a specified test. This is specific for the intellectuals. If you got a mate that you want to see where their brain capacity at, you send them some articles and see if they read them by asking them follow-up questions later. Because you want to know. And you might have to do this 2 or 3 times. You're going to have to send them 2 or 3. If they don't read none of them, then you got a situation where the mind ain't trying to move forward at anything. You know what I'm saying? You need to know if you can have that dialogue. You know what I'm saying? That don't make sense.
No, I think I would read them if it was something that interested me. If you sent me like some random shit about that's
part of the test. It got to be interesting. It got to be relatively short. And it got to be something that has easy follow-up questions that should be easy to respond to in it.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you got to put time into finding out if this is the person you want to be with. And I don't know. I really don't even think you should get pregnant right at the very beginning of your relationship. Like, not on purpose. Like it should be an accident.
Again, I think it depends on where you are in. Like, if you get married 38, 39, and your wife is that old, what's the appropriate balance? Because she may not be able to if you wait too long.
Well, you damn got to wait longer than 4 months.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they got pregnant right after they got married. So they weren't married. But that ain't the
situation though. Like, if that's the situation, then clearly,
yeah,
okay, but
it's not. Yeah,
she's not. She has some time.
She's like 35 something out. 35.
I assume she has time. I mean, it's 50-year-olds out here that done had babies. I ain't
everybody
saying that it's gonna
don't work that way.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen for everybody, but I'm saying having a baby at the cost of not knowing your partner, to me, ain't worth it.
No, I mean,
it might be worth it to somebody. It ain't worth it to me.
Well, me and AC had a whole thing about, because I said that I could see, like, he is very much a traditionalist, where it's like mom, dad in the household. Like, I grew up with that shit and it wasn't healthy. So I have a very different outlook. I think if the two people in the household are healthy, sure. I don't think two people should just be in the household for the sake of two people being in the fucking household, though. So I was talking about, I get why, I don't know that I would do this, but I get why women, like, when they're getting to that part and they haven't met anybody, I get artificial insemination. I get if you want a child and you're not in a place where you can have like the whole family unit, that traditional shit that everybody tells you to have, but you want this child and you're able to like take care of the child, I don't see a problem with that. But of course he was like, well, you're depriving your child of a father. And so essentially, if I can't find nobody by the time that my shit is about to expire, I just am gonna be childless because I couldn't find a man.
And when does the dialogue go to men that are depriving those children of their presence by not being there? Like, why is the dialogue only on women most of the time when it comes to situations like this, where the woman has to submit and has to change and have to accept bullshit that a man put out? Why that dialogue don't come to men? Well, because we live in a misogynistic society and men, got the advantage, all that shit.
All those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna feel if 40 knocking down and I still out here single and shit. Like, I don't think it's fair for you to say, oh, well, if you can't find a man and have a family and have a traditional 2-parent home, it just wasn't meant for you to have kids. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's how that works out. Like, because then what you have is, when you have that kind of mentality, then you question why people go out here and get with somebody after 4 months and marry them, have a baby. You think that's stupid too. So like, what's the answer? If I give you the traditional lifestyle that you think that I should provide for this child, but because I didn't have a whole lot of time in which to do it, I cut it down, you think that's stupid. If I go and say, okay, I haven't met anybody, I might still be able to meet somebody, I'm not taking that off the table, but because my window of opportunity for this kid shit is closing, I'm just gonna have artificial insemination. Maybe they'll have a stepdad if I ever do eventually meet somebody. That you have an issue with that as well. So then again, he was like, well, I didn't say that. But that's essentially what you're saying. If you don't meet a man who can give you the 2-parent household that every child needs, you don't get to have kids, period. That's it.
So this just instantly brought up a situation for me when you said I didn't say that. Mm-hmm. It don't matter if you don't specifically say some shit.
Exactly.
It's encompassed in all the shit that you say around it. For example, I'm not racist. But if you say Mexicans need to take their ass back to Mexico, and if you say black folks just complaining about shit and they ain't shit, and you say everybody with a turban on is a terrorist, you don't got to say I'm racist. All that shit you said, it encompasses racism.
Basically, yes.
So, like, at a certain point, you got to understand how what you're saying implies a lot of other shit.
I just summarized it. That's all. You said all of this stuff. I summarized it down to, if I can't find a man, then I don't get to have no kids. Period. That's the end all be all. I gotta find a man who's healthy and in a position to financially help me take care of this child. But if I can't do that because of circumstances and I just ain't met nobody and Providence or whatever the fuck you want to call it, then I just don't get to be a mom, because me being a mom isn't enough. Gotta have that down. So fuck all the rest of that.
Or in your dialogue, you gotta add the caveats to the situation. You gotta add the asterisks to what you're saying. Like, if you ain't saying those things at the end of the whole dialogue, but in these instances, this. In those instances, that. The fucking Constitution got amendments. Dictionaries got footnotes, endnotes, asterisks, all of this different shit. Mm-hmm. Say what you want to say and say what you mean and add everything to it, because the world is going to take it. People going to take it and interpret it crazy.
Summarize it down to it.
Exactly.
Brass tacks. But yeah, so again, I get it, and I get getting to that age of feeling that way, but it's not fucking worth it, because you're gonna be Rudy. You're gonna be out here and you're gonna be Rudy.
Don't be Rudy.
Don't be Rudy is, I guess, The lesson in this: don't be Rudy.
I mean, unless you're a child star and you still won't work. I mean, that's the only time that's the context in which you be Rudy.
Yeah.
Because she still got work.
Yeah, she does still.
There's a lot of child stars out here, their careers over and they just
don't even know where the fuck
drugs have ruined their lives.
Basically. Yeah.
So we in politics.
We've been there the whole time, man.
So I'm just gonna go with the North Carolina voter ID laws, which was struck down by a three-judge panel. Mm-hmm. It was struck down saying that it was discriminatory on almost surgical precision. And so, fine, whatever. Just North Carolina legislation. The problem is the Republicans in the state said that they're afraid that this is an issue that will give Democrats a stronger hold on the election. When they enacted this election, they asserted strongly that it had nothing to do with disenfranchising populations that will possibly give the Democrats a stronger hold on the election.
But now you're saying that that's your fear.
Exactly. Now you're saying we're afraid that them changing this legislation, but they're using voter fraud, which I want to let y'all know that voter fraud is not a statistically significant issue. And when I say not statistically significant, for those of you who don't really dabble in statistics very much, it means so little that it don't even make a difference. Just like that tablespoon of paprika that you forgot to put in that dish.
I'm glad you said that. I need paprika.
It don't do shit anyway. Yeah. You know, that it don't make a difference in the outcome of the situation. Mm-hmm. Voter fraud, you could take every instance of voter fraud from every state and put it in one state, and it's not enough to steal an election. And they're asserting that the election might be stolen because of this. But if you didn't believe it was an outcome to change how it can sway, it wouldn't have been an issue. But
it
now,
wouldn't matter either or. Yeah.
So this is the thing. Republicans don't have to say it disenfranchises people.
That's what we said.
You know what I'm saying? But when you say things like it might give the Democrats a better chance, when you say things like it doesn't have anything to do with race, but it turns out that it does, then your fucking legislation disenfranchises you. You don't gotta say it. If you say all of the shit that encompasses disenfranchisement, that's what it is. And so I'm just gonna get more deeply into this in our society about this whole notion of divisiveness. You're being divisive
because you're talking about
because you're talking about shit. Like, what the fuck you want me to do? The shit that exists. See, I think what white America want brown America to do is, and not every white American, just those of you who feel this way, is to assimilate, shut the fuck up about your brownness, shut the fuck up about disproportionate treatment and all that other shit, and just be okay.
Because why not? Right? It's according to Bill O'Reilly, ever since the beginning of all of this, you know, the slaves that built the White House had wonderful lodging and nice meals. So they've been treating us so wonderful from the beginning. What could we have to complain about?
I don't know. But you don't have to say a lot of this shit
for that to be what you're saying.
For us to understand what you fucking saying.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you don't understand what you're saying by saying all that shit, don't say it. Pretty
simple concept.
You know, people calling you racist because you agree with people that have racist sentiments. Like, don't ask me why. What has Donald Trump said to be considered a racist? He done made blanket statements about Mexicans. He done made blanket statements about Muslim and Islam. He done made blanket statements about black people. He done made blanket statements about homosexuals.
Anybody that ain't him.
He's made blanket statements about all of this stuff. And those blanket statements encompass the idea that he might think that his race is better than others. Because I know who he had made a blanket statement about. White people. He hasn't.
No, he has not.
So if you don't get that by making those statements about every other culture but not your own, if you don't get the idea that someone might think that you believe that you're better than someone else because of your skin color or your culture or your heritage, then you are just in denial, because that's what it is. I mean, I don't know, and I don't know how to say. There is no argument for racism. It's just never. I mean, people keep saying that these police officers that's doing this stuff when black people involved is not racism, because an investigation by that same department rendered that it wasn't about race. It was fully justified. And you're saying that it doesn't mean racism. There is never going to be a defense for racism unless a police officer jump out of his car, say, I hate you, nigga. The reason I'm finna shoot your black ass is because I hate your skin color. Pop, 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 pop. Until that happens, there is never going to be a way to definitively say that race has something to do with that. And I don't like people who say race absolutely has something to do with it, as much as I don't like people who say race absolutely has nothing to do with it. I don't like absolutes. But race in our country, it puts a variety, it puts a variable, it puts a different spin on everything. Because maybe that cop ain't racist, but maybe his supervisors are racist, and the reason that he was in that community was because they said you got to watch them blacks. Or maybe he's not even in a racist system, and maybe he's not racist, but maybe he got a racist partner that put him in a position in which he never would have been in if somebody didn't have these racial dispositions. You got to understand that the history of this country has remnants. You're not going to tell me that George Washington chopping down a fucking cherry tree and all the history, every single bit of history matters in the context of the present, except for my history. You're not gonna tell me my history don't mean shit, and I need to forget my history because we got fucking history class. We gotta take fucking history in college. We gotta take American history. We gotta take world history. We gotta take all kind of different histories. And the America believes that history is important, and so you can't brush out one part of history you don't like and say it don't mean shit and it ain't important. Because if it ain't important to you, it's fucking important to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that history has left a remnant on this country. The residual effects are, there are some people that might make decisions based off of racism. And I'm inclined to believe that a lot of white people have racists in their family.
Yes.
A lot of white people have granddaddies that own businesses that ain't trying to hire black folks in mass, that are not hiring the best person for the job all around. Because if they are, and it just happens that everybody is white, then you just believe that white people are the better people for the job. I know that racism exists. Black people, we don't have access to that. We don't have access to the dialogue that white America has with the older generation and the white racists out there. Mm-hmm. You know, to continue to consistently invalidate it. Or you just don't understand that white people using nigga when ain't no black people around, and white people telling jokes about black people when ain't no black people around, when they just show their bigotry in front of you, you must not believe that that's racism. Yeah. Because it is. And it has an effect on how they're going to look at a person, how they're going to treat a person, how they're going to be around a person. I hope you're not that person, you know what I'm saying, who's doing those things. But if you're around the people that doing those things, you've got to understand that that's the kind of shit we be talking about, even if we don't see it exist or know it exists, you know. But damn, you don't have to say you racist. You don't have to say you're sexist.
Most people don't say that. Most of the ones that are don't. That's the thing. You don't have to say they out here like I fucking women need to be in the kitchen, you know, barefoot and pregnant. You
don't have to say you're misogynist.
No.
You don't have to say you're homophobic. You don't have to say those things. The way you act, the way you treat those people, the way you believe about those people and the things you believe, they tell the story. If you say, I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, you're saying that you don't agree with homosexuality. Yeah. Which in essence is saying that you don't necessarily like it existing. You know, that gets into telling the story about what you believe. And you need to know that, y'all motherfuckers. So, going more deeply into the race situation, Constance Wu, you know what it is?
Fresh off the boat. I know that because we talked about it. I didn't know.
Fresh off the boat.
Yes.
If you haven't seen that show, you need to watch it. It's hilarious. It's like Asian version of Blackish, except I can't watch Blackish.
Why can you not watch Blackish?
Because I don't agree with his representation of me as a black man. I just don't. Like, he's entitled to that, and I know he represents some black men, but he don't. Yeah. I don't like the things he does to try to portray his blackness. Not saying it's not a good show, it's not a funny show. It's just I don't like watching things that make me have to assess my blackness on the scale of what I'm looking at.
So Fresh Off the Boat doesn't do that for you?
No, because it's not my culture.
Yeah.
You know, but it's very hilarious. But the thing about it is, like, the main character, the little boy, he is heavily infatuated with rap in it. So it got like, he got on like the first and second episode, he got like a Biggie shirt when he going to school. Like, he got on a Biggie Notorious B.I.G. shirt, and I'm like, okay. but it's a funny show. But I don't have to look and think about my culture. But maybe an Asian person might be doing this.
People might not like it.
Yeah. But Constance Wu got on Twitter and went at Matt Damon. Why would she go at Matt Damon though? I like his movies. He got some good movies. Well, his newest movie is called Great Wall, in which he's basically a white dude that's, you know, beating up a bunch of Asians. You know, he goes into Asia with a whole bunch of, like all these movies, he going to Asia with a limited knowledge of the fighting in Asia, becomes a great fighter in Asia, and then beat up all the Asians that taught him how to fight.
Like this Last Samurai.
Last Samurai, Tom Cruise. Yeah. I mean, so she really had an issue with Hollywood continuing to portray brown people as needing a white savior. Because, like, almost every movie got a white savior, a white hero. Mm-hmm. Like, what's a movie that got a brown hero?
Only one that comes to mind is, it hadn't even come out yet. I'm excited as shit about Black Panther. That's gonna be a black ass movie as far as like the characters in the movie, because it set it up. Isn't a lot of it supposed to be take place in Africa? Is it not?
Is Wakanda in Africa?
Isn't Wakanda? Where else would it be?
I don't know. I mean, they made it up. It might be in.
I think it's supposed to be.
It might be a little
Africa.
Isolated island somewhere.
I just imagine it to be, because it reminds me of Coming to America. What was the name of their fictitious? Zamunda. I don't know. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be black as shit as far as the cast is concerned.
So what you're saying is, because you know you don't have to say it to not for it to mean that, is that there's no movies you could think of that exist now with a brown hero, and Black Dynamite don't count.
Oh God!
First
of all, I'm too young for
Bruce Leroy. Don't count.
All of the what black exploitation, isn't that what they were called? Black exploitation films. Yeah.
Have you seen Black Dynamite?
No.
You didn't see the original Black Dynamite?
I know about these things because the references that are made to them, but I've never actually watched them.
Black Dynamite is hilarious. I don't know if it's unintentionally hilarious or intentionally. If it's intentionally, it's borderline genius. If it's unintentionally, then they'll never be able to do it again. Which he hadn't done it again, so it might have been an accident.
It might have been an accident.
But
yeah, but I can't think of any that had, because even with we were talking about this earlier. I don't even remember the name of this movie that's out now with Matthew McConaughey saving the slaves, like, or he's leading a rebellion.
Yeah, like
because he's poor and white, and so he didn't feel.
I mean, can't even have a slave movie where the black people are the heroes. I mean, Nat Turner finna be that, and I guess Underground, that show, I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it.
I just assume that's shit, about black empowerment somehow.
I don't want to watch it. Like, it depresses the shit. I get why it continues to need, I guess, to be made, because like the younger generations are more likely to like watch a movie than they are to like read books. But I just can't watch that shit. Like, I have never seen Django Unchained. I've never seen The Butler. I've never seen The Help. Like, all of them movies like that, I just avoid them shits like the plague. Like, I'm not going to take anything from that I didn't already know about the fucked up shit that we endure. And so I just don't want to watch it. So I've not seen any of those movies.
And my thing is, I don't want to see a joke in none of them movies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I know there's a lighter side to existence, and I know black people have consistently made do with shit and enjoy life however life came at them. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to see no jokes at the end of the day, because white people are writing this stuff. White people are writing it, and if white people are not writing it, white people are approving it.
Yeah, I saw The Help on the on a movie list, and I did not realize that shit was like almost 3 hours long. What the fuck finna like? No. Mm-mm.
So my brother,
I'll give Avengers 3 hours. I ain't finna give Help 3 hours of my life.
so my brother, he is out in Hollywood, and he been on some shows, and he was on Two Broke Girls, right? And he said that when they did the table read, which is they read over the show beforehand, trying to make any changes, he said that they had a racist ass joke in the reading. In the scene, she was supposed to be waiting in line, and she had to get to the back of the line, and the joke was, I had to be all the way in the back of this line. I would have been a great black person in the 50s or something from having to get back in the back of the bus, something like that.
Yeah. Nah.
But one of the main characters, she said, we are not. I ain't saying that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she was like, that's a racist ass joke. Y'all should make an ass joke or something.
Yeah.
And then she left. He said she left. And they turned it into an ass joke. Like, they literally could be using anything to be funny, but sometimes they teeter on that line of cultural insensitivity. And so I'm saying that to say that the writers of these heroes, sometimes, like in Black Panther, Ryan Coogler is the director, but who writing it?
I don't know.
And do
the
they have a
writers
black
are.
writer in there? And do they defer to that black writer for black stuff? You know, do they let him approve it, or is he just another black person in the room like everybody be, and they pretty much say what's gonna happen, and he just gonna not be happy with what's going on because of white people doing it? Same thing for Orange Is the New Black. They released a group of the writers, and while it's not a predominantly black show with black people, but there are white people writing for those black people.
Yeah.
And so it's just really hard to understand and to just support a lot of that stuff when I know that it's not really, it doesn't encapsulate the black experience exclusively, because it's the black experiences as told by white people's understandings of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if I made a comic, if I wrote a comic and started a comic, then the comic is gonna be after my likeness. If I made a hero, it'll be after my likeness, because I understand me, and I want to create a perfect picture of me. And I think that's what white America do. As the writers of history, as the writers of everything, they've painted a portrait of themselves that is the hero, that is gonna continue to be the hero. But in Hollywood, you would think because of the explosion of diversity, that they would start seeking to change some of these things. And I think that's where you got people mad at Scarlett Johansson playing in Ghost of the Shell. That's when you get mad at them not casting an Asian character in Doctor Strange, which apparently Marvel has a strong history of whitewashing a lot of roles and a lot of positions. Iron Fist, which is about to come out on Netflix sometime next year, I think. He's a white dude that go into Asia, learn karate, and then whoop every Asian ass. I mean, I think that's her issue. Constance Wu is like, that's not our story.
Yeah.
We have heroes.
Yeah.
We have Nelson Mandela. We have the Gandhis. We have, every culture has heroes of themselves. White people that never had to come in and save people. I mean, usually people had to be saved from white people. You know? And so, I don't know, man. Seeing Matt Damon, I like the Bourne movies. I like movies that Matt Damon play in.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
But seeing, and I, during that ALS challenge with the ice bucket thing, like, he was giving he got some good things to say about some shit. But when it comes to diversity, I just don't agree with some of the shit he done said.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not gonna say I don't agree with this movie because he ain't one in charge of it, but I think we got to move away from expecting a white savior.
Yeah. And
we got to start making our own saviors if we got to, I guess.
Back to me not watching like the slave movies. This is completely, that made me think of this. I've been watching this show called Wrecked. I think it comes on ABC. Anyhow, it's about a commercial plane that crashes and lands on an island. And so you have one of the flight attendants, which is a male, made it, and then like all the rest of the passengers trying to like figure out how they're gonna survive. And it's a comedy.
Is the cover of that where the plane is like on a body. Oh yeah, I seen. I went by that.
So it's pretty funny. Like the characters are all like these wild, crazy characters. But what made me think of Wrecked was there's an episode where they find because nothing on, they don't have any electricity, no nothing. So they find, and they have all the luggage from the plane. They find a portable DVD player that has some juice, enough power for them to watch one movie. So they go around looking for movies. They find 2 movies. They find Dumb and Dumber, which everybody was excited about because being on an island is depressing. So they wanted to watch something lighthearted and funny. Well, the other movie that they found was Selma.
Damn.
So the whole episode, they go through this whole thing where like everybody clearly wants to watch Dumb and Dumber, but they feel like they have to watch Selma on principle. And so there's a black lady on the island, and they go to her hoping that if she say we watch Dumb and Dumber, we're absolved and it's not bad because the black girl wanted to watch. Even she, like, you could tell she wanted to watch Dumb and Dumber, but she was like, well Selma was an important movie, and we may not ever make it off this island, so if this is the last movie, she didn't want to watch the shit either. So at the very end, they were all like telling these secrets about themselves, and somebody finally chimed up and was like, I want to watch Dumb and Dumber. I don't want to watch Selma, but I don't want y'all to think badly of me because of that. And then everybody was like, we want to watch Dumb and Dumber too. So like that just made me think of that word. Like I think sometimes people feel like, I don't know. If given an option, I don't even like Dumb and Dumber, but I would watch Dumb and Dumber before I would watch Selma, especially if I'm on a fucking island where we ain't got food and shit and I need a pick me up. Selma ain't that. So I wouldn't want to watch Selma either. But I just thought that was funny that they all went through this whole like, we should watch Selma off principle, even though we don't really want to.
Internal dilemma.
Yes, that was just a funny episode. It's a pretty funny. It's like a goofy. It's something that if you need something lighthearted, I like it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway, that's the only stories I got.
You ready to get strapped up?
So by the time we record next time, yes, I will have shot some guns. Because I'm going to go to the shooting range, so I'll have some opinions.
I'm not going, so don't expect me to have any kind of
I don't see myself fucking with guns after this, because like I said before, my problems with guns are the politics behind them, the power behind them, and the misuse of both of those things. But the device
for the
itself,
people who think that if you shot guns you'd understand why people enjoy them, you'll be able to address that because you'll have fired a gun.
I mean, I think I already understand, the allure to guns and the importance with which America places on them. Yeah. But we'll get into a dialogue about guns. That's going to be amazing. Next week.
I just wanted to say that, it's not a quarter life crisis because I'm not 25. And it's not a midlife crisis because I'm not in my 40s or 50s. So a 30-year life crisis, fuck, I don't know. Anyhow, I'm going through this phase where I wish that I was doing something a little bit more unconventional as far as my professional life is concerned, because, y'all haven't seen me, but I have tattoos. Y'all know I have the red fro, which I want right now to change it to fuchsia and purple. But like the things that I would like to have the freedom to do, I don't. And I just am a lot more of a creative person, and I don't think that I realized that about myself, like when it mattered, like when I was picking majors and all that. So I just wanted to say that for anybody else that's like feeling like, when you get in your 30s, just the ideal situation that's sold to you is that you go to school, you get a career, and you work that career and you retire from that. I have that. I have a career. I'm using my master's degree. But it's not fulfilling for me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like so for anybody else, because I know like sometimes it's like, shit, I'm 30. I should feel like I should be happy that I have this, or I should have my shit together kind of thing. it ain't just you. A lot of people go through that. It just doesn't have a name like quarter life. That quarter life crisis had to be created for people in their like late 20s that were going through shit. Because midlife crisis, sometimes you have one before you get to midlife. Like sometimes shit gets tossed up before then. So yeah, for anybody that's going through that, I feel you. Because I'm dealing with it myself now. Fucking sucks. But yeah, if I had an unconventional job, y'all would probably not even recognize me.
Being a counselor is not easy.
No, it's not.
You absorb the emotional frustrations of other people, and our skill set helps us diffuse them so that person can be better and we can be better. But it's not easy. And when you add on your own life stresses and your own issues and your own things, it becomes a different situation.
Yeah.
I hate for people to believe that being a counselor or in the field of psychology means that you have things together.
Not at all.
It in the least means that you understand the root and the core of these things, but you're still expected to be able to deal with them as much as other people too.
Yeah.
I always, like I said, I suggest everybody need to have a counselor.
Yeah.
In a situation, especially even if it's a seasonal counselor, even if it's
you
just need to have an idea. I don't care if you're into professional psychology. My program made us do 8 sessions of counseling, and when I did it, I remember the apprehension of going to counseling, and I was trying to be a counselor, and so I know that got to be difficult for the general population.
Yeah,
but
it's weird to go tell
ain't.
somebody the shit that you don't want anybody to know, essentially, which is why you're sitting on it. But it helps to get it out, and I think what people have to remember is that this isn't like your family where you're gonna see them and feel like they're judging me and things are gonna be weird or they're not gonna understand. This is what they do, or that's what they're supposed to do, because everybody's not good. But for the most part, generally speaking, this is what they do. So it isn't about judging you, it's about getting you to a place where you're happier. So in that regard, talking to somebody that doesn't know you or you feel like it expects you to be a certain way is helpful, because sometimes we feel like we have to live up to these expectations of the people in our lives, and the counselor's not like that. It's not that same situation, so it's helpful. I encourage. Yeah, it's good for everybody to talk to somebody. Everybody need to do that every now and then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so when you in that field and you want to branch out creatively. And they say, no, you can't do that for professional purposes. Like, I don't know, man. And
it really, like, honestly, like my cartoon, or I don't know, I think my Twitter picture is like a real picture instead of the cartoon, but my hair is that red. Like, it really, so it's like going from that to like fuchsia. It's not that big of a jump. It's actually in the same like family of colors. Like, so I don't know, but yeah, my coworkers were like, that would it be blah 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 professional, and I'm like, I'm walking around with red hair. It is.
Yeah, like fuchsia purple. Like, we literally, that's red's cousin.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, damn.
Yeah, so I don't know. And honestly, y'all, I'm probably gonna do this shit anyway, because that's just my personality. So at some point, I'm probably gonna change my hair color just because it's what I do.
And what implications does it make? Because the range of color from white people's hair that's natural goes from black all the way to pretty red.
Yeah.
But because our hair only grows black, are we supposed to just have that color?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And I don't know that regardless of what color, I mean, it's not going to stop whatever is going. And honestly, I work with a lot of teenagers, so I get a lot less resistance in the beginning. I mean, they still are they're kids, but I'm not like the man. So like, I'm not like their parent. I'm not put on that same like level of whatever they may be going through with their parent, because I don't look like their parents most of the time. So I don't know, but I'm probably gonna do the shit anyway, because that's just how I roll, and I'll just deal with consequences when it happens. But I just wish that it didn't have to be like a whole thing of like, I have to think about this before, whatever. But that's part of adulting too, I guess. It's blows. But yeah,
I got you. You got anything else on your mind, man?
that was it.
Well, until we come to the next conversation,
We out.
holla.